Hi everyone. Last time we did a lesson on one-point perspective and how to create the illusion of something like a road or a pathway leading into the distance into one point. So today's lessons, we're going to use the same idea of one-point perspective, but today we're going to look at how do we make three-dimensional objects also look like they're going into the distance. And we're just going to practice drawing some random blocks and shapes, and just to learn the idea of how we get these to look like they're going correctly into the distance in the right perspective. So let's get started. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, for this lesson, you're going to need a pencil, a rubber, maybe a fine liner, a pencil sharpener, a ruler, and just an assortment of coloured pencils or textas or whatever you have at home. Okay, let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do here is rule up my horizon line straight through the middle. Okay, now we're going to create the idea. We might start with creating like a little road or a path similar to last week. So I'm going to find a dot in the middle, and that's going to be the central point of my 1 point perspective drawing. Now, I might create, say, another little road just for fun. I'm gonna go 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters. Okay, let's create that road again. Okay, and I want to make it look like a road, so I'm gonna put some lines in, and they're going to get smaller and closer as they go down. Something like that. Okay, to make it look like it's going into the distance. Now, what if we want to put some objects in this picture and make them look like we're going into the distance? Okay, so I'm going to show you a few little tricks. I'm not really drawing anything specific here, but I'm just going to show you how three-dimensional objects work. So, say I wanted to have, say, a big box. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with, say, a square. Let's do something like this. Okay, I want to make this object look like it's also going into the distance. So here's the trick. I'm going to put my pencil on that 1 point, and I'm just going to lightly rule a line that joins from that point to the corner of this box here, like this. I'm going to do it very lightly though. Okay, so you can see how this line joins from that corner and comes back to that point. Now I'm going to do the same with the other corners. And again, with this corner down here. Now, I'm not going to worry about this corner because this corner's kind of behind the box and I wouldn't see it. Now, I need to decide how far back I want this box to go. And to do that, we need to think about this, that our box has a horizontal line and a vertical line. So wherever I want the edge of this box to go, I need to make sure that it is parallel with these lines. Okay, so let's do the top one first. I'm going to make it go to about there. Actually, I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to line it up with that line so I know that it's going to be straight. And now I'm going to line this line. And it's really important that this runs parallel or horizontal. Okay. And now I'm just going to darken that up. Okay. And now I have a box that's sitting in this space. I'm going to rub out these lines because I don't need these lines anymore. Okay, and now I have a box that looks like it's going back into the distance. Now this is a really cool thing to do if you're wanting to add, say, a building, or maybe it was a truck coming into the distance, something like that. Let's try one from the other side. So again, let's just create a square shape first. It doesn't have to be an exact square. I'm going to make mine a bit lower this time, like a rectangle. Now again, let's follow the rules. The rule is that I'm going to start from my point and join that point up to each of my corners. So here's my corner of my box, just lightly. Here's another corner, and here's my third corner down here, making sure they all come back to that point quite accurately. Okay, now, it's going a long way back. I'm gonna stop it at some point. So I might rule off a parallel line here, making sure that this runs horizontally. It's very easy to try and go at a weird angle, but we need to make sure that these lines run parallel the same way. Now I'm going to make sure this line matches my new line here, running up and down. And now, if I get rid of these last lines here, which I don't need anymore, I now have sort of a strange box out in the middle of nowhere. Again, all I'm doing here is just practicing putting objects into a space to make them look like they're going into the distance. Okay, what about if we had a shape that was maybe behind this shape? Let's try it. Okay, now even though it's behind this shape, we're going to still create the effect. So coming from this point, this is the rule. We're going to take it from that point to the corner. We have another corner here, and I also have to remember there's a corner here, but that won't matter because I'm going to cut mine off shorter to about here so that these run together. Now I need a horizontal line this way. This is going to be tricky because they're quite close together, and I'm just going to darken up my initial lines and rub out these lines. Okay, and I now have another shape that's behind. Now remembering that here's my little test, that all of these lines going back will all lead to that point. That's how I would check if I've got it correct or not. Okay, and all these lines should run horizontal, these edges, and these lines should all run vertical. Okay. I mean, we can even be a little bit more creative. Imagine there was just some sort of random box in the air. What if it was right in the middle? Let's go something like this. Okay, imagine this going back. Now, I won't be able to use this corner, it's behind, and so is this one. But these corners will come into this point, like this. Okay? Now I'm just going to make the bottom of it horizontal, something like this. Okay, I'm going to rub out the lines I no longer need. Okay, and now I have some sort of weird box that's looking like it's going back into the distance. Now, I know that these are just weird shapes that don't really mean anything, but we're learning the skill of making objects appear that they're going back into the distance. Let's try some more. Okay, we're starting to get the idea here, and hopefully what we're seeing is that all of these top lines and bottom lines are running horizontal, all of the sides run vertical, and all of the sides that appear to be going into the distance all lead back to this point here. All right, and just for a bit of fun, I'm going to colour this in.